So I had a couple questions that I thought it'd be fun to make a video on. And they're a little different, but I think they're fun to talk about. First one is I train all the time, but I don't see progress. Basically what that tells me is very little. What I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they are working out 6 days a week and they're just burned out. I don't know if they're working out 3 days a week and they're doing the same thing they've been doing. They're not changing any variable of how much weight they're lifting or how much cardio they're doing, etc. But whenever we don't see progress anymore, something has to change. Now, there's two examples of where progress can stop or plateau. And one would be kind of what I alluded to originally is you're just doing the same thing over and over, and so you're not going to see progress because you're not going up in weight, you're not increasing speed, you're not adding more to what your body's capable of. That one's actually really common. And then another one would be you're doing too much and you're not recovering enough. So there's something called a deload, which I think is super beneficial for people. We work out for 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the person. I think most people can make it 4 weeks before they do their deload. I think 6 weeks is probably fine too. Every person's a little bit different, but that's a good range. So what you do is whenever, let's say you have a simple workout that's a 3-day-a-week workout where you're doing compound movements. So let's say one of your workouts is, say, squats. If your squat is the bar, right? If you do the bar over and over and over again, once a week, every week, you're going to create some stress to the system, but it's never going to increase. So I'll put up a chart over here that shows like how the body adapts. And so what we'll see here is the green line showing as we do the workout, we get fatigued, stuff happens, and then we come out of that after we recover, and now we come back to a baseline that's higher than our standard baseline. And if we don't do enough, we're on the yellow line. We're just maintaining. We did a little bit, but not enough to elicit any type of adaptation or change in our body. So we go down a little bit and we come up a little bit, then we get back to baseline, and it just maintains that. And then some people, they just push too hard. So they go all out in their workouts, and then they don't recover. They don't sleep. They stay up looking at their phone. They drink alcohol. They do all the, bad things. And then they do it again. And then we have life that happens, so we can try to do more of the green and less of the red. And if we hit some yellow days, that's fine. So going back to the squat, let's say we do 45 pounds because we haven't squatted before with a barbell. We feel the next day that our muscles are not sore, but we wake up and just a little tight and achy, but then after about 20-30 minutes, that goes away. That's the appropriate amount of soreness you want to be. Some people do leg workouts, and then they feel like they can't sit for the next 2 or 3 days because they're in pain. You've done too much and you stress the body out too much that it can't recover from that much intensity. So you overshot what your body's able to adapt to. So I always tell people, good rule is you should feel something, but it shouldn't be, I can't sit down because I did too many leg workouts, or I can't move quickly or go up and down stairs because my legs hurt too much. If you did that, you've done too much. Now, if we do 45 pounds one week, then the next week we do 45 pounds, we might get some adaptation from that because we're still lifting the weights, but it's going to be lesser. So then the third week, we would need to, let's say, go up to 65 pounds. Well, whenever we get to 65 pounds, we're going to have that same feeling. Okay, we did more stuff. We feel a little sore. We wake up in the morning, a little stiffness, a little soreness in the legs, and then that goes away as the day goes on because you didn't push your body too hard. And then the 4th week, you decided you don't want to stay at 65, you want to go up a little bit more, so you're going to go up to 85 pounds. Feel good, feel same way. Then the 5th week, you go to, let's say we get up to 100 pounds. Do 100 pounds, we feel good, it was a little harder. The next day we're a little sore. So what should we do? Should we deload, which would be dropping the weight, or should we go one more week? If you feel like you can do 100 pounds on that 5th week and it felt good but hard, let's go to week 6 and we'll just go up to 120. See how you feel on 120, and because 100 pounds felt hard, 120 is probably going to feel hard and you're not ready for it yet because we jumped from 45 pounds to 120 over 6 weeks. Now, how did you feel during the set? Do you feel like you couldn't complete reps? It was too heavy? You felt like you wanted to go back down to 100, or you did go back down to 100 or maybe even less because you couldn't finish the workout? If that happens, then that shows like we probably pushed the variable of adding weight to the degree that we did too much, and now we need to deload. So what a deload would look like is, let's say we couldn't complete our 120-pound squats. If we can't complete the 120-pound squats, then we did too much. So let's go back to what we did do before, which was 100 pounds, and let's just say we'll reduce it by, some people like to say 50%. I think that's fine, but at such relatively low amounts of weights, I think instead of doing 50 pounds, I'd probably stick to like 65 pounds. You just did 120, so you know you can do it. So about half of 120 is about 60. So 65 is easier to put onto a bar. Do 65 pounds, same reps, same sets. That would be your deload week. So you're basically going up until you get to a point where you're naturally going to go and reduce your volume about in half. And then you'll start going up from there. So then you'll start at 65 pounds, which is your deload. And then you won't go right back to 120. You'll probably start at 100 the following week after your deload. And then you can start progressing up. Now, that seems simple, going from 45 pounds to 120. It's like, whoa, you just doubled your weight. If you're pushing 135, which feels heavy to a lot of people, and then you're trying to get squats up to 200, that's a smaller amount percentage-wise, but the weight feels heavier, so you have to go up in increments smaller. So let's say you're trying to get up to 200 pounds. That could take multiple months, multiple sessions of deloading. And sometimes it's even effective to change workouts or taking a full week off. With athletes specifically, because of the way seasons work, generally I do 2 weeks off after they're done with their season. And so for some people, I'll do something similar where it's, instead of deloading, we're just taking a full week off. So let's do 6 weeks on, a deload week, and then another 6 weeks on, a deload week. I'll do that for 4 cycles. And then we might do 3 or 4 days off. So that way you're getting full, complete rest. You're not doing other stuff. You're getting full, complete rest, and you're coming back at it to see if we can break through the plateaus. Also, whenever we're looking at the different stimulus, like if we're at, let's go back to 135, right? The barbell with 2 45-pound plates. If we increase our weight, that's one variable that we can change. If we increase the speed that we're doing it, the frequency, fast up, slow down, that's changing a variable. If we go slow, that's changing a variable. If we increase our range of motion, so say we were doing half squats, now we're trying to go into a deeper squat, that's changing a variable. Or the amount of rest we're taking is less. So these are all variables that we can play with to adjust how we can get that weight from the bottom position of a squat up, right? And all these little variables people don't think about. And sometimes just changing the variable can help you see new growth potential. I've seen a lot of times where keeping the workout just almost the same, but increasing how long it takes someone to do the eccentric portion, so the lowering of the weight. So squat, you start off, you unrack it. The eccentric is the first portion where you're going down. Concentric is the portion where you're coming up. So if you, say, averagely get to the bottom position of a squat in about a second, and then you come out of that squat in about a second, try lowering the weight, the eccentric portion. As you're going down, try going down for 4 seconds, and then come up normal. Sometimes that's just enough stimulus to help the body grow, maybe increase muscle capacity, maybe increase the size of the muscle slightly, so you have more neural recruitment fibers, patternings to affect the muscle to get you up with heavier weights later on. So these are all just ways of improving what's going on, right? So the question, it was training consistently but not seeing progress. So we have to figure out what kind of load are you doing? What are we adapting for? What's your recovery look like? And is there any other programming errors? Generally, programming is the biggest reason. The next question: how do you know if you're actually improving or just getting tired? Sometimes I feel like my lifts are getting better, and sometimes I feel like I'm just too tired to work out. So this can be tricky. Some people tend to just push it. I'm going to keep going, push through the tiredness, and just go for it. And then you have the other side of a group of people that are like, well, I'm too tired today. That means my body's tired. And the people that feel like they have to push through the workout every single time, they probably should back off their workouts a little bit. And the people that gravitate towards, oh, my body's sore and it's telling me something, so I shouldn't work out, should probably push it. So I would say whenever you feel uncomfortable in not doing or doing something is probably when you should do it. Overtraining for the average person is relatively hard. Normally, it's not impossible. Type A people, like, y'all get it. You're doing more and more, and the more you do, the better you get, so you'll do more, and then you burn yourself out. But generally speaking, if someone's just doing recreational lifting and they're working out 3 to 4 days a week, you're probably not going to get burned out. You might get some muscle injuries from bad programming or bad movement patterns, but you're not going to get burned out. Where you see burnout happening is lots of miles. Look at the half marathoners, CrossFit people, where they're getting burned out, and muscular fatigue, joint issues, a lot of repetition, any type of runner, really, or any person that's doing the same movement pattern over and over again. So how to know if you're actually improving would be, is your body changing? Does your body look different? Going back to the idea that you can take a picture before you start your goal, and then whenever you're figuring out if anything's changed, does your body look different? Are you lifting more weights? Are you lifting weights faster? Is there something going on where you can determine, like, oh, I did progress from this to this and I do see results? Are you just tired and trying to recover? That's another thing where it's like, maybe if you have a bunch of other stressors, you have a baby that's needing you all the time, you have a family where you have to do a bunch of stuff, and you have a work, there's a lot of factors that are stressing you out. That stress can be causing so much adaptation that and working out 4 or 5 days a week could be preventing you from improving. So we have to figure out what in the system can we adjust for, and are we doing all the right things? Are we eating enough protein? Are we getting the right amount of sleep? Can we get enough sleep? Sometimes work, family life, whatever it is, you can't get that stuff. So these are all just little ideas that we can start taking and building on to say, is my problem I'm actually not improving, or I'm not improving the way I want to? So hope that helps.